Okay, let's call to order the Board of Library Trustees Committee of the Whole for Monday, January 11th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Trustee Meadow is absent. Trustee Rule,
Yes.
Trustee Smart,
Yes.
Trustee Supplet,
Here.
Trustee Tangney,
Here.
President Zick.
Here. All right. Thank you, everybody. And we are having this meeting once again over Zoom because of this, following the CDC and the state guidelines regarding the amount of crowds. I got to get that better one of these days, so I explain that better. So apologize. Okay. Was there any public comment? I did not see any additional ones. Nope. Okay. So let's just move on now to item 1, COVID-19 related service changes.
Okay, so this is just bringing up for discussion the kind of where we're at with reopening, and I wanted the board to weigh in on what our plans are going forward. In the memo here, I explained that we'd be looking for tier 2 mitigation change before reopening. With the positivity cases and the hospital bed availability, it does look like we are not going to be moving to tier 2 on January 15th, which is the soonest Governor Pritzker said they will start moving regions to tier 2. So we had originally projected January 20th or being closed through January 20th. I think over the next week before the board meeting, we'll just keep watching those numbers and see how things go. But we have heard a little bit from customers and staff on both sides of the issue. So we are taking all of that into consideration and taking that seriously. Before we move back to a reopen, I want to avoid reopening and then reclosing because of all of the operational changes that happen in order to support the service model while we're closed. So I want to give the staff as much notice as I can when we are to move to a reopen. As you guys know, we have the digital services mini Kinko's down in the lower lobby. So all that equipment needs to be moved back upstairs. We have a lot of shelving, and we have staff spaced out on the in the public area of the library. So all of that will have to be changed back before we open. That said, we could do that January 21st if we knew far enough in advance that that was the way that Governor Pritzker was going to move things for our region. But just as it's looking right now, I don't know that that's going to be the case based on the numbers. But I would love to hear from the board.
So I'm fine with that. I think personally that's a lot of good logic there. Yes, we don't want to keep doing this. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're doing this the right way, that we're doing everything to make sure that we're safe. We're doing things safely for the staff and for the people of the village. So I do agree with that. So what did we, on the last meeting, what did we state that we would keep it close to? Was it the January 20th, or we went beyond that, didn't we?
Through January 20th, and that we have a board meeting on January 19th. So we'll bring this back up for discussion and a motion at the board meeting. So this is really just kind of an update and to give the board the opportunity to weigh in on reopening. I believe John has a question.
Oh, John.
Greg, were you going to read the public comment?
No, not this time. It wasn't necessarily a public comment.
Okay. And then in terms of that, Mike's report, my comments is that we've been following the state's guidelines throughout, and I would expect that we would continue to follow those guidelines moving forward.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're looking at and operating off of. We do offer a lot of services, even though our building is closed, with the exception of our study tables and browsing and our computer use in the library, we do offer just about, well, most of our services otherwise. People can borrow a laptop, they can print, they can copy, fax, scan, get any book they want. So there's a lot of services that we're offering. So I feel like this should be a well thought out change and make sure it's the right time. So I did have a meeting with other directors today, and other libraries, of course, are in the same boat, trying to determine when is the best time to open. About 6 libraries stated that they were kind of had an idea of when they were going to open. About half of them were thinking toward the end of January, and the other were early February. One of them is thinking March, and then another one even later than that. So they're kind of scattered. Everybody's trying to figure this stuff out together.
What have you given any thought to what you're going to propose at the board meeting?
Probably February 1st. Of course, these numbers change on a regular basis. Looking at the kind of trajectory of these numbers as they compare to the thresholds, I don't want to reopen when we're very close to the threshold and a negative trajectory. So I'm looking to have a little bit of space between the threshold and what those numbers look like for a couple of days.
Hey, Mike? Hey, Mike, it's Debbie. I just think we need to make sure we are past the holiday influx of cases before we reopen.
Totally agree. And that's where we had picked January 20th. The incubation period for the virus is 15 days, I believe. So we were looking at, looking past that incubation period after New Year's and a little bit of a buffer there, bringing us to January 20th. And a lot of other libraries have selected that date as well. But it looks like just with the amount of time that we need to be below that threshold in order to move to tier 2, I believe one of the categories is it's 11 days in a favorable side of that threshold. So if if we look at where the incubation period ends and then add 11 days to that, that puts us closer to the end of January. I'm thinking probably February 1st or around that time at this point. But of course, this stuff changes daily. So
Yeah, next week it'll probably be different.
right.
Okay, all right, very good. Trustees, any other comments, questions? Okay, all right, thanks, Mike. Thanks for that update.
Sure.
Let's go on now to item 2, the American with Disabilities Act policy.
Okay, so this is a policy that we're presenting to the board. We have an ADA policy actually in our policy manual. We don't currently have one for the public. We do have something similar on a little bit more generic on the staff side, but this will bring us up to speed on ADA requirements for the public. So this policy has been reviewed by the library attorney, and he helped us draft it. But I'd be happy to take any questions that you guys have regarding it.
Trustees, any questions?
Mike, do the dogs have to display some sort of identification that they're a service animal?
Shannon, do you know that off the top of your head?
There's nothing that's regulated that the animal has to, like wear a vest or a collar. The only thing that the animal has to do is be able to perform a function for the person with the disability. Okay. So, but they could have a vest on, they could have a hat on.
I thought I'd seen some dogs that had some type of badge or something on them before.
Yeah, there could be a badge on the collar. It could be on their coat.
Okay, and obviously what we're doing in here is we are differentiating between service animals and therapy animals too.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the airlines just did something about that recently.
They did. Emotional support animals are different than animals that are trained to perform the function for the person with a disability. So they might guide, lead, pick up, navigate, sense a seizure. But yes, nobody would be able to come in with an iguana or a, parrot.
Okay.
Or
Shannon?
miniature horse.
Miniature horses are permitted.
Are they? Wow.
Yes. Miniature horses and dogs.
Debbie. Christie.
Whoa. Yeah, I was just going to ask. So with the dogs, I think that's a follow-up to Deb's question. How do you know it's a service dog then? If there's no recognizable label, I mean, do you go up and ask the individual or what? What's
Yeah,
What's the approach?
that's actually part of the policy. There's only 2 questions that we can ask, and one of them is if the animal has been trained to perform a function for a person with a disability. So we
What's
are
the
permitted to
thing?
ask that.
Yeah, those 2 bulleted things. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
All right. That's the only thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hey, what I was just wondering is, to be honest, I don't think I've ever read an ADA policy before. But the one line here, we talk about it numerous times. It says, unless a fundamental alteration in a library program would result. How do we decide that? How and stay within the legal thresholds?
And then do you want to address that from a programming perspective?
Sure. My understanding is if it's, we do not have to, we're not required if it is going to fundamentally alter a service or a program. So if it was building a ramp to access a building that we were holding a program in, we would not be required to do so.
But with the building, have already had to have had that ramp, though, I suppose, too, it leads to the other question.
Correct.
I think this really speaks to like partnerships in the community or, facilities that are not our own.
Sure.
We may not have that.
Okay. They're very good. Very good.
John has a question.
I'm sorry, yeah, John?
Yeah, that's an important one. Shannon, where does this leave your mechanical cat?
Oh, jeez.
Well, unfortunately, my mechanical cat is not been trained formally, so the cat will have to continue living in my office
It's a companion.
as a companion, as emotional support companion, right?
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well, that's right. Anything else on that, trustees?
No.
Okay, all right, thanks. All right, let's move on to item 3, then revisions to the Arlington Heights Memorial Library Foundation Memorandum, of understanding.
Yes, so the memo of understanding that was established with the foundation when the foundation was created has been updated or proposed to be updated by our president of the foundation. And really the main objective here is to really clarify the fundamental purpose of the foundation and how they may donate not only funds, but in-kind donations as well. And so they learned when this MOU was written, it was, the foundation didn't really completely understand how they were going to be accepting donations and how that process was going to look, or what it was going to look like. Now that they've been existing for a while and have some experience under the belts, they are asking to update this MOU with the changes highlighted on the first page there.
Trustees, any thoughts on that?
No problem with it.
Okay. Okay, all right, very good. All right, thanks for that update, Mike. We'll take care of that then.
Excellent. Yep.
And then, it's gonna be a quick one tonight. Then on to other.
Yes, so we have the Village Board Joint Breakfast Meeting on Saturday, January 16th. That's the Saturday coming up. I wanted to ask you guys if you had any discussion topics that you would like me to include in my presentation or anything that you'd like me to address.
Anything in particular?
Makerspace, probably.
Okay. I'll be giving an update to the makerspace and then talking about our service model changes during the closure.
Okay. Yeah, okay. If you come up with anything else then during the week, please, send an email to Mike, a note to Mike, and just let him know that we want to go. Oh, John, this is your hand up. There you go.
You're muted.
You're on mute, John.
EDI, equality, diversity, and inclusion. I'd like to see that on the agenda for us, because I will ask it in general too.
Okay.
I think we are the standard for that, so I urge you to set that standard.
Okay. I'll include that in my presentation.
I think, Mike, probably a lot of the things that you were going to hit on during that town hall meeting would be appropriate.
Perfect. Yep. Happy to include that one. Anything else?
Okay. All right. Well, if that's it then for that, thank you very much. Can we have a motion then to go into closed session?
I move we go into closed session.
I second.
So Deb moves that we go into closed session with accordance with 5 ILCS 122C1 to review executive director's annual performance goals. And we have a second on that.
Yes.
And
Andy,
Andy,
Andy, yep. And can Janet, real quick roll call?
Trustee Rule,
Yay.
trustee Smart,
yes.
trustee Suplet,
Aye.
trustee Tangney,
yes?
President Zick.
Yes. Okay, so as we did before, we'll be leaving this particular one where we are jumping over to another one for closed session, and then we will return back to here to close out the open session. So
Okay.
see you in a minute.
All right.
Okay, so we are back into open session. Can we just do a quick roll call of back here?
Trustee Meadow did not join, right? No.
Oh.
Trustee Rule,
Here.
Trustee Smart,
Here.
Trustee Suplet,
Here.
Trustee Tangney,
Here,
President Zick.
Here. Okay, this is going to be really quick. We do not have any additional items from closed session for action. And so now we just need a motion for adjournment then.
I'll move that we adjourn the Board of Library Trustees Committee of the Whole from Monday, January 11th.
and
I'll
I
se-
second that.
Okay, you got a lot of seconds there, Janet.
Yeah, we all want to go.
And okay, and so one last roll call, Janet.
Trustee Rule,
Yes.
Trustee Smart,
Yes.
Trustee Suplet,
Aye.
Trustee Tangney,
Yes,
President Zick.
Yes. All right, everybody. Good meeting. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great evening.
have a great week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.